For more on this, I am now joined by Tim Anderson, Director of Centre for Counter-Hegemonic Studies in Sydney. Very good to have you on the programme, Tim. What do you think about the significance of this admission?
Well, as you said in your intro, we've known for a long time that there are US occupation forces, largely in the east of Syria, also in the south. It's very relevant what's happening today because the current regime in Damascus, properly understood, is really a foreign occupation regime. The UN, whatever it says now, was incapable of getting rid of the 50-odd-year occupation by the Israelis in the south. The two biggest NATO armies, Turkey and the US, were occupying the country. And so that occupation covered about a third of Syria until recently. And in recent weeks now, it's 100% of Syria, basically. There's no real legitimacy in the regime in Damascus at the moment. But nevertheless, the occupation armies of Turkey, the Israelis and the US are important to keep it in place because it's very unlikely that Syrian people are going to vote for an HTS government.
Tim, the fact that they have admitted that the presence of these forces and doubling the number was way before Bashar al-Assad was toppled. Does this show further that the fall of Bashar al-Assad was pre-planned rather than a surprise?
They've been working to topple the Assad government for many years, and they've succeeded now. What they haven't changed is the Syrian Arab Republic. They haven't got a legitimate regime in its place. The Syrian Arab Republic is still the nation that's recognized by the international community. So the US is doing its level best now to try and whitewash the background of this new regime there. But the occupation itself, as you said, from 2015 is something that was contrary to all international standards. While they're raising hue and cry about the Russians protecting Russian people in southeast Ukraine, they're occupying Iraq. They're not wanted by the Iraqi people. They've been occupying Syria. They're rejected by the Syrian people. All of the pretexts about keeping oil reserves from terrorists is laughable, really. The US has created, and Turkey created, and the Israelis created a safe haven for these terrorist groups which have now taken over the capital.
So what now for them now? What do you think is their mission right now? Is this to protect the Kurdish forces? What do you think it's their mission now?
The overall mission is to try and install a US and Israeli-friendly regime there. They'll have trouble doing that with the HTS, which is scheduled by the UN Security Council as terrorists. It's not enough that the US decides to change its label. The UN Security Council, which involves states other than the US, have it listed for reasons of all of the sectarian murders and the Takfiri, the sectarian killings that they participated in the past. Unlike the resistance groups in the region, the UN Security Council does not recognise this party which is dominating Damascus now. So the US is there to try and ensure that there's going to be some transition to a new regime which is going to support its interests and which is not going to oppose Israel. And they're going to have a great deal of trouble doing that because the Syrians for millennia have not liked being occupied by foreign armies.
Thank you, Tim. Very interesting to get your insight into the matter. Tim Anderson, Director for Centre of Counter-Hegemonic Studies from Sydney.